Well, the US Central Command has said that the Strait of Hormuz remains open to all vessels despite Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claiming it has closed the strategic waterway. In a post on X, CENTCOM said that US forces are positioned and ready to ensure freedom of navigation. It also accused Iran of unwarranted aggression, harassment, threats, and what it called arbitrary declarations. Let me also bring in at this point in time Captain Sanjay Karve, former Indian Navy officer. Captain Karve, in your opinion, does Iran have the liberty as well as the wherewithal to claim sovereign waters, claim sovereign straits, which do not necessarily belong to it? And is this arm twisting in the longer run going to in fact create deeper problems for Iran?
Vinith, what you have brought out is absolutely right, but I do tend to agree with the Honorable Ambassador and Commander Bhushan about the correct situation. However, the readers need to also, or the viewers need to have a look at the facts. The United States is not a signatory to a UN clause. Iran has signed the UN clause, but he has not ratified. That means legally, both the nations are not bound by the UN treaty of keeping the international sea lanes open. The second fact is, we saw on live media the procession for the late leader in Iran and Iraq. And throughout the procession, there were chants of anti-US. Probably this is something which has unnerved the United States, which did not expect such a grassroots support for the local government. Now, the Israel's intel saying that the President Trump's life was a threat, we really don't know how true it was, or it was Israel's way of stoking the fire or stoking the amber. Technically, or it is very difficult to draw a line in that narrow strait saying, okay, this is my territorial water, this is your EEZ. It is practically impossible, And as far as the ship is concerned, if you remember last time also on a chat on this channel, I had mentioned that that particular ship was also not an Indian flag carrier. This particular ship also was a Cyprus flag carrier owned by a Cyprus company, operated by a company in Dubai. So the noise that we are making, that India is a friendly nation with Iran, and how has Iran fired on an Indian ship? Iran has not fired on an Indian ship. Also, we need to understand that it was the United States who initiated the action when talks were going on and when Iran was in mourning and moving around with the funeral of the late leader. So it's a very tricky scenario. I think the President of the United States has caught himself in a bind. It's like between the devil and the deep sea, as we call it in the Navy. He cannot just walk out arbitrarily. As it is, that NATO has practically disowned him or disowned his support. Same as happening in his home country. If we look at the demographic of United States, the eastern part of the US, Islam is the second most predominant religion after Christianity. The western part of the US, Judaism is the next prominent religion after Christianity. So he has a problem at hand, even in his own country. Iran has obviously realized this, and Iran is trying to choke the Strait of Hormuz for its own benefit. Like Commander Bhushan said, there is no harm in allowing him to take $1 a barrel or $1.50 for a barrel. But the fact remains that US, which is standing on or sitting on a high pedestal, has got no right to do so. Yes, it initiated the UNCLOS, but it has steadfastly refused to sign the treaty, saying that he doesn't have 2/3 majority in the Senate. Iran has signed it, but has not ratified it. US has been blatantly attacking schools, colleges, and hospitals, and then talking of peace. It's a no-win situation for both of them. They have to find a middle path in the interest of everyone. In fact, China would be more interested in this conflict to stop.
All right.
Because
so we have some more breaking news coming in.
China.
Let me come back to you, sir. We have some more breaking news coming in. Well, the Strait